Everyone, it's Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net. Thanks for watching the look ahead. It's Monday the 7th of December. Now this is our more technical, detailed, longer range outlook. If you do want a short-term hit of weather, then do check out the fast forecast at weatherweb.net. Of course, the weather is so big in the news at the moment because of the amount of rainfall that hit Cumbria during last weekend. I think really the main story is the amount of rain that fell. Yes, the floods are devastating, and I really do feel for you if you've been affected by those. I know many of you watching this live in Cumbria. Many of you have got farms and businesses in Cumbria. So, you know, my heart goes out to you. From a meteorological point of view, it's just the sheer volume of water that fell on Friday and Saturday. These are the estimated radar rainfall totals. These are from weatheronline.co.uk, and I'm grateful to them for allowing me to use these charts. This is the rainfall for the 24 hours ended on Saturday morning, up to 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. And you see here these dark red colours. That is 150 millimetres of rain plus. So certainly these figures of 340, 350 millimetres are backed up by the radar amounts. And then look at the rainfall then for the 24 hours up to 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. That area extends, and that dark colour you see in here, that dark brown, is 200 millimetres plus of rainfall in 24 hours. So huge amounts of rainfall caused by this wet southwesterly wind bringing in moist air off the Atlantic. Also notice here, look, Snowdonia affected too. So huge volumes of rainfall, and I know some of you will be cringing when I say this, and I can't believe I'm going to say it myself, but is this related to climate change? Of course, it's you can't pin down individual incidents to climate change, although there are papers out that are trying to do that. For me, I think where the main worry is that the atmosphere was able to hold that much water this far north before dumping it on us. It really is huge volumes of rainfall. Now, what I'm not suggesting is that hasn't happened at any time in the dim and distant past, because obviously the Lake District's been there for quite a while, and that's why it's called the Lake District. So I think we've got to treat cautiously claims of wettest ever, but certainly it looks like it was an extremely wet event. And when you link that in with the recent flooding events that we've had in recent years, going all the way back to 2012 when we had the flooding events in Western Wales, even the hardest anti-climate change mind has to kind of flick itself to say, have we missed something here? Is something going on? You know, I've been changing my position gradually on this. Certainly I don't want to be a war minister, but I just find myself thinking, I wonder, is this more evidence? And we're getting little pieces of evidence building up all the time. So perhaps decisions in Paris can't come soon enough. But whatever, huge totals of rainfall. And what I would say on the climate change front is we've got to be very careful about the claims that we start to hear over the next few days trying to link in climate change with this. We have to be very careful with banding around those sort of phrases. Okay, something we haven't looked at for a while is the MJO, which I'm going to bring up in just a second. But this is the NAO forecast from the CFS going forwards to March. Yeah, I know, believe it at your peril. You know how to use these forecasts now, these long ranges. I shouldn't have to, say to you that don't use them in the same way that you'd use day-to-day forecasts. You all know that. What's interesting here is just to see the prediction of the NAO getting down into neutral values during next week, and then they're bouncing up into positive but also down to negative every so often, and a definite downward trend. And this is very interesting. Look at the end of January through February. It turns us into a negative NAO, which would back up the stories of a cold February. Before then, kind of hit and miss weather. Changeable winter weather is the best way to describe it. Generally temperatures above average, 1 or 2 colder hits possibly, but this downward trend in NAO indicating, certainly as far as the CFS is concerned, cooler weather on its way. Now, for the next 30 days, the CFS takes us through phase 5 and into phase 6 of the MJO. Getting into phase 5 pretty soon, actually. And we're kind of mid phase 5 through Christmas Day. Getting into phase 6 around about New Year's Day. So it certainly tries to get us through phase 5 and phase 6. We're just coming out of phase 4 at the moment. I should say this is from Carl McRitch's site. So coming out of phase 4 at the moment, getting into phase 5. This is how phase 5 looks. Trough out in the Atlantic, jet pushed further south. Certainly a cooler look to things. Higher than normal heights to the south, lower than normal heights towards the north. Unsettled, cool, and that would certainly be giving us the risk of some wintry showers across Scotland. So remember, this is the period leading up to, well, it's from now onwards really, getting into phase 5 and becoming ever strengthened with that sort of flow. So staying unsettled, still with a jet over us, but probably further south. So it may indicate that the emphasis for wet weather actually shifts its way southwards as we head to the next couple of weeks. Phase 6 then, getting to this around New Year's Day. Bit of a change taking place here. Higher than normal heights towards the south, here and here. Lower than normal up towards the north, quite a trough over the northern parts of the state, which kind of digs in. And the jet is still there, but what it does is it gets the flow back up here, builds a ridge up in here, still got a trough up in here. That has some of the shapes of a blocking high trying to get going across Scandinavia. Now, it doesn't exactly back up the idea of a cool end to December, cool end to a cool beginning of January, but certainly what it shows us is the potential for a change in flow. So the story is kind of there. I think it's just something that we need to monitor. Early January has always been a real tricky one to try and pin down. But of course, we'll keep you updated here at weatherweb.net on how that looks. I think the main tale we can get is from the ideas of the NAO, really keeping consistent through December, through much of January, and then this major change towards the end of January. So it would go again for this idea of an unsettled January. Temperatures generally near to above normal, although certainly cooler than we've seen it of late. Okay, going to leave you with that for now, but whatever you're doing, don't forget to watch the fast forecast for your detail for the next few days. But for now, thanks again for watching, keep the sun shining, and bye for now.